Hi, I'm Bob Hill. I'm the president of the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale at 308 Broadview Avenue in Toronto. Scientology is a practical religion. It teaches a person how to know. In fact, that's what the word Scientology means, knowing how to know. Now today, we're going to take up some interesting concepts. What are the parts of a person? Can you reach a higher spiritual level? And what is the bridge to total freedom? You see that behind me all the time. So today's sermon is based on the writings of L. Ron Hubbard from the Scientology Handbook Introduction. So here we go. You ready? Good stuff. Now, man consists of three parts. The body, which is little more than a machine. The mind, divided into analytical and reactive, which computes and contains little more than a collection of pictures. Isn't that something? So your mind is simply a collection of pictures. And now we get to the person who's really running the show, the Thetan, the spirit, life itself. The spirit which emanates or animates the body. So the spirit which animates the body and uses the mind. The point being, the Thetan, the spirit, is senior to both body and mind. After all, it is none other than the Thetan who actually erases and gets rid of engramic charge. So it's the actual being who gets rid of the things that are stopping you and can increase your abilities. So you actually handle getting rid of your own charge. In fact, as he gains control over his reactive mind through auditing, he likewise gains more control over the whole of life, regaining abilities and certainty of self. But what are his limits? How high can he ultimately ascend? From the research for these answers came the subject of Scientology, and the door opened to the full realization of spiritual potential. That state is called operating Thetan, and it is nothing short of what is delineated in this description of a spiritual being's native state. So you're trying to ascend and get to that point up here, operating Thetan. Now, although without mass, motion, wavelength, or location in space or time, the Thetan is nonetheless capable of accomplishing anything. Thus, the operating Thetan, or OT, may be defined as one who is at knowing and willing cause over life, thought, matter, energy, space, and time. Can you imagine that? That was probably something you'd like to have. In fact, I'm sure you would. It's an ancient dream, the state of OT, and all great philosophic works either touch upon or echo it. So you may have read books that kind of lean towards the possibility of that, or that it could occur. Well, although it may seem remote to some in this post-industrial age, the thinking men of every major civilization up to this century not only would have grasped its meanings, but were themselves seeking at some level to attain it. For when one speaks of OT, one is speaking of a transcendence over all the travails of existence, and therein lies the ultimate dream of spiritual freedom. So you want to get someone to that level because they can transcend all of the travails of existence and function and handle them. It is not for nothing then that Scientology has been described as realizing man's most basic hope for spiritual freedom. By stripping away the accumulated impediments of the ages, these are things that stop him, and returning to our native state with all the abilities that are inherently ours. So those abilities all lie within you. They're there, they exist. By stripping away all the impediments that are stopping you from using and attaining them and having them, you get them back. And you become natively who you are, and thus we have this state of operating theta. You're able to function. Now, although the goal of OT is one every Scientologist has in common, one does not have to attain that state in order to realize that he has embarked upon a journey, the likes of which it has never existed before. Every step from the first auditing session is a landmark of realizations, increased awareness, and regained abilities. So don't put yourself down because, oh, well, I haven't quite got that far yet. Well, think of it in terms of every time you take a little step and become a little more aware, you're moving towards it and you're gaining back abilities. Thus, you felt were locked away in some vault, or some super person over here had them and you didn't. Man has long envisioned a route across the chasms between his present state and higher levels of awareness. In Scientology, that route is called the bridge. This here is the bridge. Now it starts down here and it progresses up here to the state of full operating theta. The bridge is gradiently laid out in an orderly progression, so gains are incremental. You couldn't take someone down here, for example, and have them do this stuff up here. They wouldn't get it. It's too steep of a gradient. It's like going to a mountain and instead of climbing the mountain, you climb the foothill and said, I've climbed the mountain, when you actually haven't. You have to gradually increase and go up the mountain. So the bridge is gradiently laid out in an orderly progression, so gains are incremental. It must be walked exactly. You can't get there by doing one part and saying, oh, that's enough, I've made it. Well, truth is you haven't. You got to walk the whole thing. And you need to walk it exactly as it's laid out. For each step represents attainable and known improvements, results that are readily apparent and predictable. Okay? So you do that bridge the way it's laid out so that you can achieve the state of higher awareness and eventually arrive at the state of operating theta. But you need to peel off the stuff that's behind it in order to get there, or you won't make it. So walk the bridge. It works. Do it. You'll love it. You'll find each state you attain will be absolutely astounding to you. You'll think, boy, what more could there possibly be? Well, trust me, there's a lot more. I can just tell you a little bit of what it's like because I have reached the state of operating theta. I can tell you the truth about it. And the truth is, every day in this state, I gain more knowingness. I learn more. I'm able to understand more. It's a lovely condition to be in. And it's something that I would like you to have, and you can have it by walking that bridge the way it's laid out. Okay? I'm going to now read to you the creed of the Church of Scientology. We of the Church believe that all men, of whatever race, color, or creed, were created with equal rights. that all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance, that all men have inalienable rights to their own lives, that all men have inalienable rights to their sanity, that all men have inalienable rights to their own defense, that all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments, that all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others, that all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind, that the souls of men have the rights of men, that the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another's soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, and that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. Now, when we talk about you spiritually, when we talk about doing this bridge, when we talk about attaining these higher states, it can be a bit scary because you're stepping out of the norm. But trust me, if you're one of those people that likes adventure, that likes to get in there and find out who they are really, and really achieve spiritual gain, you'll do well in Scientology. Scientology is something anyone can do, although I find people that do it are special. I find you're unique, you're least willing to look. Well, if you're not willing to look and you're listening to this sermon, start looking. You'll find it's an easy ride and very, very pleasurable and spiritually, and you'll attain high states that you never imagined, and you will feel so much more capable to deal with your life. So please get on that bridge. I don't care what part you get on, where you're at, get on it, ride it, walk it. You won't regret it. You'll have incredible gain. So with that, I'll end off today's sermon. You can get a copy of The Bridge to Total Freedom and start improving spiritually by doing the actions laid out in the Scientology handbook, which I read to you. And you know, there is hope, and things can get better for you and those around you. So learn more about it by reading about this book. Help yourselves and others. Join us next Sunday for more ways to improve life. Thank you.